Welcome to Alternative Investments Chat,
where we demystify the world of alternative investments and financing for entrepreneurs and investors alike.
With these discussions, we hope you're more empowered to unlock opportunities in your business or portfolio. I'm Erin.
And I'm Erica. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Alternative Investments Chat podcast. Today, we are talking about something that sounds a little bit dramatic, and honestly, it sometimes is. Most of the time is.
Yes.
It is called the leveraged buyout, or LBO if you're in the know.
If you're in the know, that's right. So this is an investment strategy that basically says, why spend your money when you can, well, not.
I love spending other people's money.
I do too, and we talk about that often within this episode. So if you've ever seen the headline, like a private equity takes XYZ company private, what that is actually saying is that was probably an LBO. Mm-hmm. So a leveraged buyout there. It always reminds me of my favorite movie, Judge Me for Whatever, or I don't know what this says about me. But if our listeners have been listening, they know my background. So I love American Psycho. And Patrick Bateman is in a very loud club, and he tells, the lady asks him, oh, what do you do? And he says, what does he say? Murders and something.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
And
to be honest with you.
he says murders and executions, and she goes, "Do you like it?" And he goes, "What?" And he goes, "Mergers and acquisitions."
Yeah.
So every time when we got this topic about LBOs, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's murders and executions," except for it's not. So thank you, Patrick Bateman, Christian Bale, best actor on the earth, personal opinion, of course. Anyway, so depending on who you're actually asking, these LBOs are either brilliant financial engineering or a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
It might turn into murders and executions if you don't do it right.
It might, for sure. But let's break it down as we always do, what they are, why they exist, and whether or not they belong in your portfolio, investor.
Sounds good.
So first things first, let's define what it is simply. As we already stated, an LBO stands for leverage buyout, and that's just a fancy schmancy way of saying, I want to buy this company. However, I'll do so using mostly borrowed money. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like buying a mansion with a coupon and a prayer. By the way, do you say coupon or coupon?
Well, again, another funny show that I like is New Girl. And Schmidt says coupon, or no, he says coupon.
Cuppin. Yeah.
Cuppin, and it drives me nuts. And he goes, well, we'll save money and we'll cut coupons. And she goes, coupons. He goes, coupons. So I say coupon.
You say coupons with the Q.
I say coupon with the Q.
Like it.
Is that how you said it?
I say both ways, I think. But I think mostly I say coupon.
I think coupon.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments whether you say coupon or coupon.
We do want to know. Trust me. We really do. So exactly what you said, but here's just a quick analogy to kind of break it down for our listeners. So let's say you find a $1 million house, which those are everywhere and they're not really worth $1 million. But we'll talk about what we think about real estate in a later episode. So you put down like $100,000 of your own money. You borrow the other 90. But here's the twist. The house itself is going to pay the mortgage.
Right.
So that's what an LBO is. The company being bought is now responsible for paying off the debt used to buy, well, itself. Mm-hmm. I like to think of it of corporate inception. That
Another good movie.
That movie, yeah, I know. Maybe we should do a movie podcast. But it's just like within. So we know what this is now, what an LBO is, but who are the players who are actually participating in these buyouts?
Yeah, it's a great question. LBOs happen everywhere, but the main character here is private equity firms. Those PE firms always showing up. Not my favorite subject, PE, but we got through it.
We all
barely.
Exactly.
But private equity, let's think about BlackRock, KKR, Bain Capital. These are a lot of companies that we've named or mentioned throughout this podcast at various times.
Yeah.
And they do the following things here. They raise billions from their investors. They borrow more billions from banks. Mm-hmm. They buy the companies. They load them up with the debt. They glow them up, give them a little makeover, and then they sell them for a profit.
Got it. Okay, so sometimes these massive companies use LBO-style deals as well to either spin off a division. So they're like, this is cool, but we're going to make it its own. Buy a competitor. We've seen that in the news often. Offload a messy business unit. So make it look kind of nice and then sell it to somebody else and be like, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Or quietly restructure something expensive. Mm-hmm. So there are several industries that LBOs are actively being strong in. and those are retail,
Yep.
manufacturing, consumer staples, healthcare services, which I don't think a lot of people think about, but those are definitely in there, and business services. So private equity loves these steady industries the way I would say like millennials love our air fryers, like the one you have in your office that always makes me jealous.
I do keep one in my office.
It smells so good. And it's a genius idea. You had an extra one, you brought it to work, and now she actually has we have good lunches at our
It's great.
microwave.
Yeah, it's great. Sometimes you need that extra crisp and that extra crunch.
I love it.
But why on earth do investors like LBOs?
There we go. Tell me this.
That's the other side of the coin. They sound kind of risky, if you ask me. Could be, a little bit of risk, as there's always risks out there. But investors are out, borrowing those mountains of money like it's monopoly cash, it feels like sometimes, you know. Yeah. And if it's not your money, it is basically monopoly cash. That's how it feels like to me.
I wish I could spend Monopoly money.
Right.
Fun fact, I've actually never played a full game of Monopoly.
Okay, so we need to correct that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our family loves board games. In fact, this Thanksgiving we played bingo, and like heads up and like stuff like charades, but like I've never actually played a proper Monopoly.
Well, buckle up. It's going to be about 8 hours. We can get through it together.
Do you think we could do that during our work hours?
Be a great way to waste a day. But let's
for research,
it's
boss.
for
It's for
research.
research.
Come on. But let's get into this a little bit more. Couple reasons here why these investors are interested. Number one, you spend less and get way more, right?
Yeah.
Investors love the LBOs because they can buy these huge companies with way less of their own money.
Right.
Instead of paying $100 million in cash, they might only put $20 million down and borrow the rest. And that actually helps with cash flow. Sometimes you'll find even in a loan that you might be in, you might have an opportunity to pay off that loan in full, but it might actually be better for you to not pay off the loan in full and just maintain the monthly payment because it helps with your cash flow.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the same thing.
Got it.
Basically, I bought snacks, but the bank bought the whole Costco. So
Yeah.
I got a little bit and then I got a whole lot.
There you go. Yeah, because you still get to shop in the Costco.
Yes,
so that's always
exactly.
good.
And if the company does well, the investors get most of that upside, even though they only put down a fraction of the price, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Number two, debt makes gains extra spicy,
A little sriracha, if you will.
like the fire sauce from Taco Bell.
There we go.
Debt is like a financial amplifier. We know this, that debt can be a really powerful tool. When a company grows, profits grow, valuations grow, and investors,
It goes up,
yes,
and up
the
and up.
returns go boom.
Yeah.
Woohoo. Using leverage is how investors turn good returns into great returns, and I'd prefer the great returns.
Yeah.
Great returns then could turn into retire at 42 and buy a vineyard, which would be really nice.
That'd be really nice considering that is right around the corner for me. Not the buying a vineyard and retiring, but that age.
Well, so chop. We got to make this come to fruition.
Yep.
And is it risky? Yes. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to get into those risks a little bit
Obviously,
later.
yeah.
But it's also powerful. And this is why finance people, they look like they're aging in dog years, or they feel their soul feels like they're aging in dog years. Yeah,
That's
lots of stress going on there.
Have you ever seen they did like how many gray hairs the president has when he starts versus when he
Yes.
ends? That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah.
It's like, do those finance guys, like you said, age in dog years? Probably, but like, how many gray hairs did they start with and how many did they end with?
Yep.
I love watching those. I don't know why. It means nothing to me, but it also makes me laugh. So, and we obviously know that there's risk in everything, right?
Yep.
So another great reason why investors love LBOs is they think that they can fix the company.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have this mentality.
Like a boyfriend.
Like a boyfriend, yeah.
Yeah.
I can fix him. I can fix him. And 3 years later, he still is not fixed, but it's fine. No, investors often look at a company and think to themselves, oh, wow, place is like, it's a little mess, but I got this. Like, I have all the tools. I have the knowledge. I'm going to make this better. So they believe that they can come in and they can cut unnecessary costs.
Right.
They're like, we don't need that. Take that out. Improve efficiency, upgrade leadership, expand into new markets, and then, just stop spending the money like the job is to burn it, take it outside and burn it. They're like,
Right.
oh, I can fix that. So then after a few years and what appears to be that major glow up, they then turn around and sell that company off for way more than they paid for, like flipping houses used to be.
Yeah.
Or I personally still love to watch the show Extreme Makeover.
Yeah.
Just think of this as like the corporate edition.
Yeah.
Come in, make it pretty. Oh, have you ever seen the show Ungoth Me? Whew, that one's great. There's a makeover that says Ungoth Me.
Have not seen that.
Okay, I'll find it. I think it's on TLC. I'll
Okay.
send you some clips.
All right.
Listeners, you should definitely watch that show. It's hilarious. Also, I sometimes really think goth makeup is, I don't have those skills, so I'm envious of those young ladies.
It definitely takes a lot of skill.
Holy cow. Anyway.
Yeah.
So another great reason investors love this is investors actually don't have to wait a long period of time to get their investment back. So normal investing is like, let me build this nice and slow, steady runs the race. We're just doing a little bit over decades. Well, LBO investors are like, no, thank you. I want it now.
Yeah.
They live in the Amazon 2-day, or next day or day of shipping.
Get in, get out.
Yep, exactly. So they want fast returns, high exits, and big paydays in like 3 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Last one that I want to talk about is what we've been talking about often, the best reason for that investors love it. Other people's money is very attractive.
Yeah, I love that.
Here's the thing about our investors. They love using other people's money. They don't have to worry about their initial investment or their actual entire net worth. They just have to worry about that little piece they got in, and half the time it's 20 times more than when they actually get out.
Yep, that's right. My sister always says that everyone else's Coke always tastes better, like a soda sitting on the table. She always takes everyone else's, like a sip of everyone else's Coke, because she says everyone else's tastes better than hers.
Yep.
And that's exactly the same concept. Feels better to spend other people's money.
Heck yes, it does, especially when it doesn't come out of your bank account.
Yeah.
You're like, it's much easier to let go of a few $100s if you're not worried about having to pay your electric bill later in the day.
It's very true. So basically, investors use LBOs for one main reason. They turn the smaller amounts of money into much bigger amounts of money, and pretty quickly. I think the best way to really understand this is what this looks like in the wild, and to explore some of the most famous LBOs.
Yes, I love this.
So first up, we have RJR Nabisco, and you probably recognize the name Nabisco, like the crackers, Nilla wafers. Yes, same thing, although that came later.
Yeah.
Anyways, if the LBO had a Super Bowl, this would be it. This is like the ultimate
game day
example.
Awesome.
So in 1988, the tobacco and snack food company giant, this is RJR.
Yep.
Nabisco, which is so funny.
Oh, trust me.
Smoke a few cigarettes
And
have
eat a
some
Nilla
Nilla
wafers.
wafers. It's really good. That became the center of the biggest corporate bidding war in history at the time. And honestly, it still holds up to be one of the biggest stories. The price tag was $25 billion.
Dang.
And this was executives versus investors, backroom deals, leaks to the press. Oh no.
Yeah.
And enough drama that there was actually a book and a movie made about this situation called Barbarians at the Gate. And I think that should tell you everything you need to know, because barbarians.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a good.
Add that to our movie podcast.
Add it in.
We'll watch that one to discuss it.
Exactly. Second, another major globe here is the Hilton Hotels LBO. We all know about Hilton too. Way back in 2007, Blackstone acquired Hilton for $26 billion. Of course, we know what happened in 2008.
Yeah.
Real estate bubble burst, and there was a major financial crisis affecting everything and everybody. Everyone thought this was going to end very badly for Blackstone, but Blackstone did a few other things. They streamlined their operations, they expanded globally, and they took Hilton public again in 2013. The investors who weathered the storm, who were able to hold on, became legendary, making $12 billion on what many analysts believe to be the best and biggest leverage buyout of all time.
That's so crazy.
Crazy. And in 2018, Blackstone sold its shares of Hilton and walked away with tens of billions in profit. So it worked out for them.
Good, lucky. I'm glad it did work out for them. Plus, I like a good, we've got my what is it? The Marriott.
Well, that's another company.
It is, but I'm saying I like Marriott's, but a good Hilton hotel is nice.
Hilton Honors. That's what their
is. That what it is?
Yeah.
Bon Voyage. That's what I was trying to think of. Is the Marriott one? I've got all the apps, when we travel. So, but a good Marriott is nice. I mean, a good Hilton property is really nice to stay at. Now I got Marriott on the brain.
We're gonna get a letter from Hilton.
Probably cease and desist. So, okay. So if that is not like a solid mic drop situation, I don't know what is by Blackstone. Like that, they like came in, they're like, please
Yeah,
don't worry about us. We've got this
we got
covered.
it.
So those ones all turned a profit. So let's explore one that actually went sideways because we did say they're very risky. So let's talk about one who
Didn't work out so well.
didn't do so well. So we're gonna stay in that beautiful year of 2007.
Great.
Investors bought TXU Energy in one of the largest buyouts ever. It was a whopping 45 billion. I almost said million. $1 billion. Okay. This deal was based on the belief that the rising demand for energy would stretch a supply and push those electric prices up. So they were like, great, this is amazing. Everything looks great. But shortly after the deal was completed, increased horizontal drilling or fracking, if you've ever heard that term, led the U.S. shale gas revolution, and energy prices actually tumbled. They went rolling down a big hill. So their debt costs soared, and after trying to make it work for over about 7 years, they finally declared bankruptcy in 2014 in one of the biggest top 10 non-financial bankruptcies in the U.S. history.
Rough.
So this deal, like America's most favorite investor, who we love, our Mr. Warren Buffett, he was actually convinced that this was a magnificent deal and it could not go wrong. He ended up losing about $900 million in this deal. Again, he invested really, really thinking that this was going to take off.
Yeah.
So again, these deals are iconic. They're the best and the worst of the LBO field. But there are many more other famous ones, and we just want to talk about a few. But let's just go ahead and shift gears and talk about what actually makes the company an ideal candidate. So we know what they do, but what companies are you going to go after?
Yeah, exactly. So first and foremost, the company must make reliable, boring, predictable money, right? Remember, the company has to pay the debt using itself.
Yeah.
So another great LBO target is often a good company being run kind of bad, right?
The fix it. I can come and fix it.
The fix it, exactly. Maybe the business needs some operational improvements, a new POS system, better leadership, cost-cutting procedures. This is something that maybe another company or corporation that's more experienced in that can come in and clean that up.
Easy.
Yep,
makes
especially
sense.
you'd hope that they have experience in it in order to execute it properly.
True.
Up next are strong assets that can be collateralized.
Makes
Banks don't just lend money on feelings. They're not like, I have a good feeling about this. I think you're going to pay me back.
Yeah.
They want to have concrete evidence that at least if things go south, they can claw back some of that funds by way of your assets.
Yeah. Oh, in a medical field, especially, like you can sell off equipment. Like those MRI machines cost a lot of money.
The
You can
building.
sell it. Yeah, all that stuff. Those are the assets those are the first things to be
Liquidated.
Exactly, to try to recoup any of those funds that may have gone down the tank.
Yes, exactly. And stable industries top the list as well. Investors love boring. Boring equals reliable, right? For a lot of things. They don't love extinction. You don't want to be just like betting on a fad. They want industries that they feel pretty confident are going to be around for the next 10 years.
Right.
Because it takes a little bit of time. Yes, it's a little bit quicker with this type of investment. But you want to make sure that this company is going to be around if it takes 7 years for the, profit to come to fruition.
Yeah.
You want to make sure in 7 years people are still going to be needing this thing.
Yeah, this is not, LBOs are not for startup worlds.
No, no. That's certainly more risky, right?
Yeah.
And lastly, you want to make sure that there is an obvious exit plan. This could mean selling to a bigger company. This could mean selling to another private equity firm. This could mean taking the company public or splitting off different parts and selling those. Investors don't want to just buy companies to see what happens or where it goes. They want to have a plan and feel comfortable that that plan seems like it's going to work out.
Yeah, you don't just be like, if you don't have this game plan, this exit strategy in particular, it's like, let me just figure this out. It's like, no.
Yeah.
No. We don't, that's a lot of money that could potentially go down the drain. So you want to make sure that you've got all these things that you just mentioned to ensure that you're buying the right company, right?
Yep.
So again, this actually just segues us perfectly into our favorite discussion about advantages and risks
Yep.
of those LBOs. So again, let's start on the positive side this time. Let's start with those
All right.
advantages.
I like your
So
style.
I know we always go risks, but we'll get there. Don't worry, we know. So we've already touched on this a little bit, but the number one advantage is very, very simple. A little bit of money can actually potentially yield a very high return.
Right.
It's like putting in $1 and getting $5 back, but
Right.
legally, and you don't have to spend those money on like scratch off tickets.
Right. I was just going to say slot
I mean,
machine.
play
So.
the lotto, do the
Yeah, exactly.
slot machine. So debt magnifies returns, kind of like the way our Instagram filters magnify our beauty, But PE firms actually love this about these kinds of investments. Next up is that control. As the investor of an LBO, you usually get the majority of the control. You can decide when to change the management, reorganize operations, cut costs, tell Bill over in accounting, stop buying weird stuff and, seasonal staplers for his desk. That's not how we do this. And then make the company pay for it. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Trust me, I've worked with managers who buy stuff and I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Again, spending other people's money feels good.
Yeah.
But I love being in control. So
I've seen your spreadsheets.
So that feels good to me. Another advantage here is that debt is cheaper than equity.
It is.
Debt has one job, to charge interest, right? So when you are getting equity, you have to pay for all of that up front. Again, the debt you get to borrow. So lot less money coming out of your pocket.
Exactly.
Plus, the interest payments can be tax deductible, which in private equity language is basically the IRS telling you, go ahead, borrow more.
Just do it. Girl.
Leverage
Just
more.
do it. Just buy those shoes.
Put more
Don't
money
worry
on
about
it. Yeah, don't worry about it. It'll
Just
come
do
around.
it. Yeah.
And advantage number 4 is that once an LBO takes a company private, there's no more of the Wall Street micromanaging.
That's true.
Here is where operational efficiency can really shine. PE firms love efficiency, and they'll Marie Kondo a company's operations in 90 days
Does this
flat.
spark joy?
Yes, and they'll get rid of it because they've taken it private. They can really do what they need to do and be a lot more aggressive about certain things that they need to get done to make everything leaner, meaner, faster, cheaper, aka more money.
Yep.
And as always, the advantages sound amazing, but there is always another side to the coin.
I think that's my cue. I heard the music.
Yep.
Come on
Exactly.
in. So let's break down those risks. Love to tell everyone about the risks. There is a way that a company could potentially get too much debt.
Aha, yeah.
Just much like America is in right now. But again,
Yep.
another
Credit card debt.
topic for another time. So debt is extremely helpful until it becomes overly stacked, like that Jenga that we talked about in the last episode, toppling over.
Yep.
When it's scary carry, as we used to say in our old restaurant business, that's not going to do anybody any good. If it comes collapsing down, no bueno, right?
Yep.
So another risk is that one bad year could actually wreck everything. So most businesses can probably weather a bad year. We've seen that happen, and they manage to bounce back. But heavily leveraged companies, they are awesome during good times.
Yeah.
But what happens if we have that recession that we talked
Yep.
about? Suddenly loan covenants get violated. Those banks get really, really nervous, and they're calling you, making sure. And then there might be, those whispers of Chapter 11 is coming on the horizon. But we don't ever, But with these potential cash flow issues comes another risk, and that is debt still wants its money.
Yes.
Okay. So debt payments, they don't care about your feelings.
No.
They don't care about market conditions.
Yep.
They don't care that we're in a recession. The lenders want their interest, and they want it on time every single month.
Yes.
Rain,
you signed a
shine.
Contract.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
Give me my money.
Exactly. And that's why, you always want to be wary about taking on debt. You want to make sure that you, even if things kind of go south, you have a means to pay it back, hopefully.
Yeah.
And they're not going to let up.
Nope.
They want the money. They want it now. So up next on the risks is overestimating what you could do to fix.
Yeah.
Like the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes the target company looks like it's an easy fixer-upper. Change a few things here, change a few things here. We're golden.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes, as we know, if you've ever watched a TLC show, You'll start opening up those walls, and you realize, oh, the foundation's crooked. The plumbing is haunted. Ghosts in your plumbing.
Yep.
The roof was built with optimism and just like another prayer.
Yep. You're like,
And
what the heck is this?
yeah, it's not working out. And all of a sudden, this investment that you thought was going to bring you a ton of money is actually just a money pit.
Yeah.
So another risk that we see a lot is also a risk for LBOs, regulatory or industry shifts. And this comes up a lot, right?
Yeah.
Regulators love to change things up, as we know. This could take your whole LBO model and make it obsolete. Maybe something that was working before is not working anymore.
Yeah.
Industry changes can also wreck everything, like what happened to retail when e-commerce came over. No one really saw Amazon turning into what it is, right? It was just an online bookstore.
Yeah.
Now we use Amazon for everything, and that is largely responsible for malls being closed across America.
Yeah. No one wants to get out of their pajamas and go do something. When you can order it from your couch, get delivered to your door, and so maybe it's a few dollars more, but the convenience
is worth it to a lot of people. And lastly, there's also reputation risk. PE firms sometimes get accused of cutting too much or being too aggressive. And this is the part of LBOs that gets usually the most headlines and the most criticism. Making memes of your firm may be depicted as the monopoly man wearing sunglasses, ready to steal all your money. No one likes...
throws you in jail.
Yes, and no one likes the news outlets calling you vultures. That's difficult to overcome.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I love good meme. I love a good meme. Trust me, come look at my DMs. It's just memes. But I don't think I would want myself being depicted as the monopoly man
not
either.
ideal.
Okay, so I get it. And plus, like you said, the risks that are in there, it's not just about the business as well. It's about the people who work there. Because a lot of times the first thing we always hear about is a company coming in and quote
firing.
unquote cleaning house, and they get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
So it also affects the people. What happens if you lose your job? And then you're the one telling the cable company or the news outlets, yeah, they are vultures. Yeah, they do look like that monopoly man, because that's how you feel.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, with all that being said, leverage buyouts can be incredibly wealth building machines. However, they can also implode faster than a crypto coin tweet from a reality star, which again, tune into our episode about crypto horror stories and you'll get that reference. Using debt like a power tool is amazing, but don't forget that the risk of blowing a fuse is real.
Yeah, absolutely. And for investors, the key is understanding the balance of leverage, risk, and execution. LBOs, like a lot of, every investment opportunity that we talk about, it isn't good or bad. It's just a strategy. And, you have to see what works for you and if it makes sense.
Correct.
But thank you for joining us today. We really hope that you learned something.
Yeah, we do. And don't forget to subscribe. Leave us a review. Tell us which company maybe you think would be a great to LBO and there's no consequences. So, think about it that way. But until next time, we'll see you then.
Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for more insight on our next episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to continue the Alternative Investments chat. See you next time.
Content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional, financial, or investment advice. This podcast should not be construed as an offer to sell or a solicitation of any offer to buy any securities. We strongly recommend that you seek advice from a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.